This is the Upper Room at Legacy.
What's up, podcasts? It's been a while since we've put out any content, as you all probably know. If you're in the insurance business, if you've listened to our podcast before, if you're familiar with our company, Legacy Insurance Advisors, we are big on the Medicare front. Senior market insurance with Medicare kind of at the center of that is what we're all about. And so since the 1st of October, we have had to shift in the high gear because it's a big part of our sales cycle. AEP started. That's, October 1st through the 14th is pre-selling. 15th up until this point, it's pretty much November 8th. And we're very close to the midway point through AEP. Our team is doing fantastic. I think as an organization, I was watching some of the numbers come in last night. We have written real close to about 1,100 new clients to Legacy in the last 3.5 weeks, which is just fantastic. Our team is just so high caliber and so good at what they do. And part of that I kind of wanted to talk to you about today because I had something on my mind that I'd like to just kind of throw out there, and it's about selling Medicare Advantage plans against a person who has a Medicare supplement policy in force now, and they're kind of MA curious, so to speak. There's a lot more television ads, especially this time of year, about zero premium plans that include dental and vision and hearing and all these extra perks. And a lot of the Medicare supplement crowd that has sat around on a Medigap, they watch these commercials, and it kind of starts to indoctrinate them to the point where they're like, I don't get this. I've got a plan. I'm satisfied with how it works, but it doesn't have dental and vision and all this other stuff that these other products talk about. What's up with this zero premium? I'm paying, with my prescription drug plan, I'm paying $180, $200 a month. What is this all about? What did I miss? What's the catch, right? Well, we have a lot of conversations with this population, especially this time of year. We do a lot of retail settings. We do a lot of seminars. And so we get to engage with the public all the time. And a lot of the people that we engage with have Medicare supplements. And I like to talk about it like this. So if you're an insurance agent and if you're going for Medicare Advantage sales, and of course you're only wanting to place those in the right people's hands. We're not out there just kind of flippantly selling them to anybody and everybody because they're not always right for everyone. But I think that they are right for a lot more people than a lot of insurance agents think, and that a lot of Medicare beneficiaries are willing to consider. And it's really kind of the starting point for me when I'm talking about this and I see somebody they're very intrigued. Number one, if they are relatively healthy, okay, this person doesn't take 44 drugs, this person doesn't see 7 different specialists, right? I'm talking about a person who just kind of, they take regular maintenance medications, and they see their primary care physician, 2, 3, 4 times a year at most. And outside of that, it's just kind of like, their health insurance and their health care is on the back burner. They're living their life. They're traveling. They're seeing their grandkids. Maybe they're still working. Maybe they have a hobby. These, like the type of people who they're not overly concerned about catastrophic health claims right in front of their face at the moment, right? Now, look, all of us know that anything can happen at any minute, but that population is really, really, really good and suited for coming off of a Medigap, if that's what they've got, and trying out Medicare Advantage. And one of the starting points, so after I've kind of qualified a person and said, okay, this may be a good candidate for this, one of the first things I start talking to them about is outcomes, the subject of outcomes. And so I'll say, Mrs. Smith, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you purchased this Medigap policy because you were either sold or you had a specific outcome that you came to the table with in mind that you wanted to see happen if you were to get sick, or if you were to get injured and you ended up racking up medical bills in the hospital, whatever, right? You have an outcome of, I want very little, if any, out-of-pocket exposure for myself if the big one hits. And of course, I'm looking at this person and I'm waiting for them to validate my assumption. So, Mrs. Smith, do I assume that that's exactly what you've purchased this for? You're paying $2,000 a year in premium because you expect an outcome if you have to use it. Because this is pay in case I go insurance. You're paying a pretty sum every month in case you have to go and visit the doctor. And 99.999% of the time, they're like, yes, that's exactly right. That's the specific outcome, Russ, that I expect and that I purchased this product for, so that if I go in. So good. So now we have established this kind of this agreed upon zone of outcomes. And I'll say, Mrs. Smith, if that's the outcome you want, that's the outcome I want. Okay, so now we're on the same page. I'm validating it. I'm affirming it by saying I'm on the same page with you, and that's also my goal. My goal, however, on top of that goal, is to simply not convince you to donate money to an insurance company for that outcome. What are some of the big expenditures that can happen with Medicare Advantage plans? Well, inpatient hospitalization. Okay, a person goes in the hospital for a week on an MA. You're probably realistically looking at close to $1,500 in total copay for that. Close to $300 a day for 5 days. Here we go, $1,500, right? That's a pretty good chunk of change for people who, your average Medicare beneficiary, for them to have to cut a check for. What about a diagnosis of cancer, right? Some other type of chronic disease that hits them, that causes all sorts of different tests that have to be run, medication changes, hospitalizations, surgeries, you name it, right? So added up bills because of those types of experiences. Well, the trick is to put a Medicare Advantage plan in the center of their universe and fortify the MA with a hospital indemnity policy and show them how that works, and a critical illness type of a policy for cancer, heart attack, stroke, etc. And those products that can fit in and almost fill in those gaps of the Medicare Advantage plan that oftentimes the Supp only agents will just harp on and say, well, this is why you need a Supp. You want to come out of pocket $1,500 and blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't want you to have to come out of pocket $1,500 either, Mrs. Smith. I just don't want to steal more money from you than I've deemed necessary. So instead of paying $200 a month, I can put a zero premium Medicare Advantage plan at the center of this, and then we can write one or two extra policies that might cost you, let's say, $70. We can totally eliminate your out-of-pocket exposure with the hospital indemnity plan, and we can give you a big cash infusion if you have a heart attack or a stroke, or if you get diagnosed with cancer, that will be designed for you to be able to pay off these copays. So, Mrs. Smith, I ask you, if you enrolled into this plan, do you want to pay for your hospital copays, or do you want somebody else to pay them? I want the outcome to be the same, which is very little, if any, out of pocket in these instances. I just want to do it for about a third of the cost that you're doing it right now. So as you can see, this is going to save you $1,200 a year in premium. And I can assure you, if I were to walk up to your house every single month and hand you a $100 bill, that the last thing on your mind is to figure out which is the nearest insurance company that I could just donate that money to. That's your money. It's hard-earned money. It deserves to be in your hands to do other things, to buy groceries, gas, entertainment, gifts for your grandkids, whatever is kind of more important to you than having to donate it to XYZ insurance company to continue on this Medigap that you don't need right now. Have you ever regretted doing the right thing? No? Great. Let's do the right thing. Let's get you enrolled in this plan today.